Reinforcement contact. Now, this is a recap from our last video, but let's talk about reinforcement. Reinforcement is a contingency which will always increase the rate of a behavior. Positive reinforcement increases a behavior by adding a stimulus. Negative reinforcement increases a behavior by withdrawing a stimulus. And new behaviors require a lot of reinforcement early on in order to take root. Over time, we can scale those behaviors and scale the demands necessary to achieve reinforcement, and as a result, then those new solidified and scaled behaviors will continue to be expressed more frequently over time. So let's take a look at our shoe tying example. For a child who is just learning to tie their shoes, that might be a highly complex thing for them to learn. They have to put the shoe on their foot, they have to cross the laces, pull them tightly, make the loops. There's a lot that happens, right? Well, for a teacher or a parent who wants to teach their child how to tie their shoes, the best thing that you can do is allow them to contact reinforcement early on. Now, one way to do this might be to tie their shoes for them up until the very last step. And then you have the child simply complete the last step of tying their shoes, and then you reinforce them, either with social praise, or perhaps you give them a hug or some sort of affection. Maybe you give them a little bit of time on the iPod or the iPad. Whatever is going to give that child reinforcement and encourage them to engage in that behavior again. Now, once they've mastered the ability to do the last step of tying their shoes, then you scale that demand, and perhaps you ask them to do the last 2 steps of tying their shoes until they can eventually do it entirely on their own, in which case you only reinforce them for independently tying their shoes.